I'm not sure anyone can deny right now that the Sunset Speedway weekly late model division is the best weekly division in the country. I mean, it's absolutely incredible, and I feel like in the last couple of days, couple of weeks, these season preview interviews, we've gone through a murderer's row of some of the best, and I got another one of the best on the line right now, none other than multi-time Barrie Speedway track champion, Gordy the Smoke Shepherd. Gordy, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me tonight, my friend.
Oh, my pleasure.
Now, 2016, the season is right around the corner. You ended off the 2015 season on a huge high note. When you're able to do that, does it make it that much easier to get back in the shop and go to work for the 2016 season?
I think it does. In our case, we sold our car, so we don't have the same car anymore. But we're looking forward to getting out there. We got a brand new car, and hopefully it's going to be every bit as fast, and hopefully we can be a bit more consistent. Now,
tell me a little bit about the brand new car, because from what I understand, it's something a little bit different than what every other limited late model team is running right now.
Well, my theory is if you're running the same as everybody else, you're only going to be as fast as everybody else. So we went and bought a car from Hemke down in Mooresville, and I'm hoping that it's going to be a good piece and a little faster than my other car.
Now, was this almost like a one-of-a-kind deal for Hankey to put this car together? Because I wasn't aware that they were building limited late model style chassis.
Yeah, they don't. That's probably the second one they've done in like 5 years. So I got a real good car, and Robert and his son there, they did a great job building it, and I'm hoping to have a little different piece than everybody else at the track.
So now, thinking outside of the box, just like you said, you're off sequence from everyone else, which obviously comes with some advantages. But does it come with a little bit of pressure as well? Because you know that if you're sort of out to lunch a little bit, you don't have someone else sort of flying the Hankey flag alongside you at the racetrack. That you're kind of on your own if you're struggling.
I don't think so. I've been always pretty good at setting my own stuff up. Last year there we called in Junior Hanley a bit in the middle of the year there to give us a hand because we were struggling, and he taught us a fair bit, and then we just finally got everything back going again, and then we came on pretty strong at the end. But we just need to be more consistent during the middle.
I feel like if we ran 75 laps every week, you would win about half of the races. Like you're this long distance dude. I mean, on the podium with the Canadian Nationals. You won the Velocity 250. When we get into these big races, these long-distance events, I mean, you're a guy that we cannot count out even for a moment.
Well, I think I learned a bit of that from being down there the previous year, watching, like Taylor and Dwayne Baker and the rest of them kind of save their stuff to the end, and that's just what I had to do. I had always had a good car. I was using my stuff up too fast.
Now, have you noticed in the years you've been coming down to Sunset, because you've been doing invitationals at Sunset right from the beginning, have you noticed tire wear start to change a little bit from year to year as the pavement gets a little bit older?
I think so, but I think Sunset's still pretty good on tires. I mean, this year it's going to be a little different story now that we're not doping tires, but I think you're going to see some cars do a bit better than other cars because they couldn't afford to maybe spend as much on tire doping as other guys could, and so forth. So I don't know. It's going to be a bit of a crapshoot, I think, to see who's gonna do well right out of the box. Now
you did really well right out of the box last year, and you ended really well. And you mentioned a couple of minutes ago that it's all about the middle. What happened in the middle of the season last year for your team? Because it just felt like you had a whole bunch of funny stuff happen. It was mechanical stuff, and it seemed like you hit a bit of a rut there where you guys couldn't do anything right.
Yeah, we struggled a bit there, with motors and then just with setup, and I think a lot of it was at the start of the year when we did well. A lot of it was just tire dope, and then I didn't realize that until after the middle of the season had gone by what I had done, and then I think the end pretty much showed what happens when you do it right.
Now, have you guys you've restructured your team a little bit in terms of how many cars are coming out of the race shop and how many teams are going to be sort of under the Ridge Road Racing banner at the track on a Saturday? Am I right to assume that?
Well, I've built a few cars this year for some people who I'm helping, and but there's only we're not doing any more rentals or that kind of stuff. She's just back to a one-car team out of this garage.
Now, is that because you felt as though maybe your team, you guys had spread yourself a little thin? Was it the problem? Was that the problem on Saturdays, or was that the problem more so during the week, having the enough hands to sort of get 3 or 4 cars ready to go?
Yeah, a bit of both. Like most of my guys, some of them are truck drivers and so forth, and a lot of us have jobs during the week, so it was tough getting the cars ready each week, especially if they got beat up a bit the week before, and had to put a new nose and a bumper and all that kind of stuff on. You're not spending the time setting the cars up like you should be. You're trying to fix them to get them back to the track.
Now, you mentioned that the whole complexion of tire wear and the late model deal this year it's going to look a lot different with no tire doping, something that I think everyone is unanimously pretty excited about. Now, I've done some interviews with other front-running guys in the late model division, and they've sort of hinted that you might see some different faces at the front of the field this year because that technology, guys were kind of using it as a crutch before, and now they don't have that anymore, and you kind of got to go back to old-style strategy of managing your stuff and managing your tire tickets. Do you think that's going to kind of shuffle the deck a little bit in terms of who's winning and who's not at Sunset this year?
I absolutely think so. I think you're right when you say it's going to be back into, your tire management and what you're saving and trying not to burn through your tire pile, your tire tickets, and then who's I think that'll prove too with the doping who's working on the car harder, who's doing the better setup. I think a lot of it'll change this year, I think.
Now, do you still have that proverbial second bullet in the chamber? Do you have a second car at home if it turns out that you guys can't get as well acquainted to the Hankey chassis as you would like to in the first couple of weeks of the season?
Absolutely. I plan on bringing it most weeks with me in case I need it. I'll be bringing a spare car with me. The only thing is I got to get someone to qualify it for me in time trials. If I wreck it in the first one or blow a motor up, at least I got a car to run in the second one. So that's my plan anyway. That's
brilliant, man. And does that is that because you saw that with Sunset's car counts, it's possible to jump into the national title hunt in terms of NASCAR Whelen All-American Series points? Is that what kind of the idea behind it?
Yeah, like after what Taylor did was pretty cool, and I've been trying to get up there for a long time in the nationals, but the way with the car count we have at Sunset, it's obviously you can do it, but I mean you sure do have to have a lot of luck on your side to win all the races.
I mean, I feel like you got to be just as fortunate to crack the top 5 at Sunset because there's so many murderers there. There's so many guys that have been there and done that and won so many races all over Ontario, and the fact that you were able to get to the top 5 12 times last year is saying a lot. I mean, considering you had the speed bumps where you guys were struggling a little bit, so it's either you were at the track wrestling with your car or you were in the top 5. There wasn't really much of a middle ground for you.
No, we either did real well or we didn't do so well. So, yeah, it's you could probably name 15 guys at that track that could win on any given night, and a lot of it is just making sure you got your car just set right. If you're off a little bit, you're probably not going to win. So, a lot of it is just is making sure your car is just set up just perfect, and hopefully everything goes your way. Because if you do well in the first one, you're starting at least 10th back. So it's a long way to come in such a tight field like that.
I mean, I get that what Taylor Holdaway did, winning 14 races in a season, is just it's pretty incredible. It's a career year, and we might not ever see anyone do that again. In your opinion, do we have a chance of seeing someone come close to that in terms of win totals this year with the changes in the rules, with the changes in tire procedure, could we still see someone go on a heater, so to speak, and get up into the double-digit wins?
I don't think you will. I mean, if they did, good for them. But I don't know. It's like you say, Taylor had a great year, and but I mean, you got to have a lot of luck, a lot of things go your way, and with the way the field is, even last year we had a lot of great cars, cars there. So it's some people just weren't right on top of their game, right? So I think when a few of the cars showed up there, the out of towners, and stepped their game up, I think it probably shocked a few of the local guys. That's for sure.
Let me ask you, was that the feeling on opening night when you came out as a Barrie guy? I get that we're all Sunset guys now, but you were a multi-time Barrie champion, and you were looked at as Mr. Barrie Speedway for a long time. You were so good up there. So for you to come out, unload on opening night, and to go out there and just put on the performance that you did on opening night, how good did that feel, considering you were the proverbial new kid on the block in terms of being a full-time Sunset regular?
It was actually pretty shocking. Even for us, I wasn't expecting to do as well as we did on opening night, but it was a great feeling, and it's great to have a car that's capable of running in the top 5 down there, and it definitely makes it a lot more funner to keep coming to the racetrack knowing that you got a decent car and you can run at the front.
Now, the other side of the coin is when you're not having a great night and you're starting a little bit deeper in the field, how difficult is it to make it up through traffic at Sunset, given the fact that everyone is as good as they are and everyone's equipment? I mean, there's not a lot of junk at Sunset. Everyone really has expensive pieces that they take really good care of. How difficult is it to make up those spots if you don't have a good qualifying effort or you don't sort of make the invert for the second feature?
Well, I definitely think, like you said about the invert there, it's when you do have a bad start or not a great night in the first feature there, you're trying to hit for that invert mark, because otherwise the second feature is just going to be as worse as the first one. So you don't want to be back there and trying to make up ground to the cars is pretty tough because everybody's so equal, and in 30 laps, it's you get a car lap here, or sometimes it might even take you 2 or 3 laps to get a car, and it's tough making it up to the back.
I always really loved hearing the Barrie Speedway regulars would say that if you can win at Barrie or if you can pass at Barrie, you can do it anywhere. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that when you consider how many good guys came out of Barrie Speedway and went on to do fantastic things all over Ontario. Last year, running full-time at Sunset, did you find yourself kind of dwelling on or resorting to things that you learned in your time at Barrie to kind of make you a better Sunset Speedway racer, if that makes sense?
I don't think so. After they repaved Sunset, it became a different animal. Especially trying to get through the corners. Like you just can't seem to overdrive your car a lot at Sunset and gain ground on somebody. A lot of it was trying to tell a race car driver to slow down and he'll go faster. It's pretty tough to do, but that's kind of what had to happen down there. And once I started to catch on the hang of it there, the car wasn't always so much the car's fault as it was me. Just trying to figure out how to get through the ends. I think Sunset, the track is a pretty tight track through the center of those corners. It's big and fast, but trying to get the car to turn in the center is it's a job on the driver's part, and as well as having a good setup car. Now,
you're also registered for the Avenue Auto Parts Super Late Model Series. I'd love to know, what are your plans for that 5-race series? Is it going to be just you dabbling a little bit, or are you going to make a full-time push for the Mini Series Championship?
Well, we're just in the midst of making a deal with Bill Passer, but our plan is I want to run all 5 races. So, I don't think I'll be another new guy in that class for sure, But there's, by the sounds of it, there's going to be some heavy hitters coming into that one. So I don't know. I think my goal would be to aim for a top 10, top 5 kind of thing, and and if we happen to do better, well, that's a great night.
Now, if you're swinging a deal with Bill Passer in terms of driving for him, or in terms of acquiring a car from him and sort of playing your own car owner, what are you hoping to be the deal in 2016?
We're just he'll be the car owner. We're just trying to make a deal with him to drive the car for the 5 races and maybe even Peterborough if we can.
So I mean, long term, 2, 3, 4 years down the road, is that eventually you can see yourself sort of jumping in with both feet? Because I know that there was always, when you were racing at Barrie, there were all these rumors that you wanted to go NCATS racing or Pinty Series racing, and that was your sort of long-term goal. Is that still the goal, or now are you thinking maybe if you move up, it'll be super late models?
I like the supers. My first couple of nights are at Sunset and Peterborough. I had a lot of fun, but I think it's like anything. When you're the new guy in it, it's usually a lot of fun because you're not concentrated on trying to win so much as just to try to finish the races and have a good night and not wreck the car. But as long as me and Bill can keep the agreement going, I'll probably keep running the car. So, but yeah, no, I'd love to make it into the NCAT series for sure. But that's a tough road. You just gotta seem to know the right people and get the right sponsors involved.
Now, looking forward to the 5-race mini series for the Super Late Models at Sunset, with time trials and longer races, longer than we've seen at Sunset in the past for Super Late Models, do you feel as though equipment preservation is really going to be the name of the game as far as who's there at the end of the night? I
definitely think so. Those cars after 50 laps of racing are usually sliding all over the racetrack. Never mind 75. So I definitely think it's going to be a race of who's been sitting back, saving their tires until the end. I think you'll get guys who haven't ran bigger races in those cars who will tear their stuff up or burn their tires up faster than they should be and not have a whole lot left at the end.
I mean, is it where we could almost enter into a paradox where you could have too much motor in your super late model if you're running an extended distance race like that?
I absolutely think so. Once you get like 30, 40 laps on those tires, it's like driving around on ice out there. It's you got a lot of motor in a light car and not enough tire. So I think when you start those big races, I think the key goal will just be staying on the lead lap till there's like 30 or 25 laps to go, and then go hard at her.
I mean, it sounds ludicrously exciting that we're now going to get you. So we get you for 5 races in the super late model. You're going to do the full deal in limited late model. It sounds like you're going to have a really, really big season ahead of you in terms of scheduling just at Sunset. Do you have any events away from Sunset that you kind of have your eye on as well? I mean, I know it's not easy to do with how much racing you got going on in Simcoe County, but is there anywhere else that you're kind of looking forward to getting to?
We haven't discussed about going anywhere else. But it doesn't say that we would maybe head up to Sauble Beach or out to Peterborough or down to. We've always been talking about going back to Delaware for a night for a special or something. But no, we haven't really discussed anything about going anywhere else.
Well, we're 2 weeks away from your first limited late model start of the year, and you were able to pull it off masterfully last year. You sort of had every bit the night that anyone would want. You came out, you made a statement, you won the first race of the year. I know that the middle of the season didn't go the way you wanted it to, but can you just reflect a little bit on how important it is to get a strong start like that and what it does for the rest of your season?
Well, I think coming out strong definitely helps you in the sense of being up into the points if that's what you're looking to do. When you don't have a very good night, or a very good start to the season, it's a long way to battle to try to get back up into those top, the top 10 or so. Like especially the way the cars are now, usually the top 10 guys are pretty good competitors, and any one of them can win on any given night. So, I think when we all get together there, it's I think it matters that when you come out in the first night trying to win or at least get in the top 5 makes a big deal on how the end of your season's going to end up.
You guys have always had such a well-supported program in terms of marketing partners, and it goes to show that obviously you're treating your partners well, because it feels like it's the same group that are coming back year after year, so they obviously feel as though they got a good relationship with you. Go ahead and throw a little bit of love their way. Thank the folks that are making 2016 happen with you, and the fact that you have so many irons in the fire. I know it doesn't happen with other people behind the scenes.
I'd like to thank our car owner, Peter Shelswell. Without him, we wouldn't have the new car. I need to thank Progressive Waste Solutions. Got to thank Jason at 400 Transmission. We need to thank Hamill Masonry. We need to thank Puzzle Partner. Got to thank my mom, my dad, my wife. I got to thank the team. They've been working hard this over the winter here to get us ready for practice here. So want to thank them.
I mean, I can't wait to see what you guys have in store. The fact that you're running, dare I say, an off-brand limited late model. It sounds weird referring to a Hankey chassis as an off-brand, but the fact that nobody else is running it, I mean, it's going to make it. It's a one-of-a-kind, and anytime someone has a one-of-a-kind, there's this morbid curiosity with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you can do on opening night. I know this is a pretty busy time of the year, so thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at Sunset.
Sounds awesome.
All right, there you go, folks. Gord the Smoke Shepherd was our winner on night number 1 in 2016. He's coming back. He's ready to do it again on April 30th. Make sure you're there watching him go to work. Gordy, all the best for the 2016 season.
Thanks.